So Ashley, what brings you in today?
I just needed to talk about my lack of motivation in terms of like anything that's not directly related to being at work or being at school. So like housework and you know grocery shopping and doing schoolwork.
Yeah.
And anything that's not like I'm in class or I'm at work.
For sure. So, do you like doing any of those activities? Housework, cleaning?
Sometimes when I'm like really upset, cleaning is really good and it's like really helpful. It kind of feels nice to be in a really clean house. But I'm so exhausted that I just like I don't really care that much on the scale of really upset about anything right now. So
Yeah. So, what does an average day look like for you?
I get up, shower, I go to school, and then I go to work.
And then you go home and go to bed?
Yep.
All right. So, how is school going right now?
It's going well. I'm getting good marks and everything. But I've kind of gotten to the point where it's like focusing on the assignments is really difficult. Like on top of school and work, there's all like this my personal life too. It's just like never makes it any easier. So focusing isn't.
For sure. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, 0 being totally overwhelmed, so much schoolwork, so much work, not enough time for anything, and 10 being I have enough time for everything and this is great. From when you first made the appointment to when you came in, what would you say you are now compared to where you were when you made the appointment?
I'm probably sitting at about like a 4 or so.
Right now?
Yeah.
And
which is about where I was when I made the appointment.
When you made the appointment as well?
Yeah.
So no changes since the day you
No.
made the appointment. Do you remember the last time you had a day off work?
Well, I just had one, which was actually the first one that I had like a day off of work and school in forever, like 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I had no motivation to do anything.
So what did you do that day?
I slept a lot.
For sure. Well, we need it, right?
Yeah.
When you're not sleeping and your schedule is crazy, you get a chance you're going to sleep, right?
Yeah.
And getting your schoolwork done, if you were that exhausted, it probably wouldn't have been the quality you would want anyways, right? So the sleep was probably the better choice in that anyways.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt kind of bad about it, and then I was like, should I though? Should I feel bad about it? And I shouldn't. I do,
No.
but I shouldn't.
No. You feel bad about it all you want, but really, there's sleep, school. The schoolwork's not going to be as well done if you're not adequately sleeping, right?
Mm-hmm.
So about how many hours are you working in a week?
40. I'm working with 40 hours.
40 hours a week. So as a student, full-time, and working full-time, how's that working out for you?
It's difficult. It's exhausting. And so I'll go to school at like whatever time, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I finish at 2, and then I go to work for 3, and I work until 11. And then I go home, and I maybe eat something depending on how I'm feeling, and then I go and I lay in bed, and I try and sleep.
So have you been eating regularly?
Yes, but like small things throughout the day.
Okay.
Don't ever really sit down and eat an actual meal.
All right. So a schedule would. Have you ever thought of making a actual schedule and saying I can work these days, but not these days, and telling your boss that those days, you need those for yourself and for homework because you are a student, you're paying to be here, you want to graduate at the end of the year, and you don't want to be burnt out by the time you do it, right?
Yeah.
So
I haven't thought about that. I did something kind of similar, like I have a calendar now that I didn't have before, and I write down when assignments are due, and then when I'm working, and then like when payday is, and when I have to pay rent and everything, and like everything is on that calendar pretty much. and it helps a little bit with like
Yeah.
that stress down because it kind of like I'm not normally somebody who likes to write stuff down, but it helps because I'm so busy that I forget everything.
Yeah.
Like I forget everything. So if I don't write it down, it's probably not going to get done
Yeah.
on time. So it really, really helps. I haven't thought about being like I can't work on these days, but I could do that.
So the fact that you are working so much, it is like if you take days off work, will money be an issue?
Yes.
So you need to be working as much as you are to support to pay your rent and your bills.
Yeah.
And all that?
Yeah.
Okay. So potentially taking days off isn't an option.
Every so often, probably being like I need like every second Sunday or something like that off, so that I actually have a weekend would probably be a good idea.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like my boss is like, come talk to me if you need fewer hours or more hours. Just come talk to me and let me know how you're doing.
Yeah.
He's really good about that, so I could definitely go talk to him about it.
For sure.
So,
are there any days in the last, say, month where you haven't felt overwhelmed by all of your activities?
no, not really. Like even the one day off that I had when I was like sleeping and not doing anything, I still felt stressed out, and I felt like I should be doing something, but I couldn't motivate myself to be doing anything
For sure.
because I just needed to not.
Yeah.
But I still felt stressed, and I still feel stressed and overwhelmed, and I just kind of go at it day by day.
Yeah. Well, I can imagine like working 40 hours, school full time, having the apartment to yourself, 2 cats, having to pay all those bills. It's a lot of stuff to take on, right? So, yes, I can imagine you're feeling very overwhelmed. I would like to ask you a strange question now. So, suppose you go to sleep tonight and a miracle happens while you're asleep, but you don't know what's happened because you're sleeping. And when you wake up, what will be the first thing that you notice when that will say a miracle has happened?
I think that I would feel relieved and like refreshed because I would have actually gotten a really good night's sleep, probably. It's a miracle. And my house would be nice and clean, and like my assignments would either be started or done. I would. Messed up a little bit there. I wouldn't have to worry so much about like the bills that I had to pay, and like wouldn't have to work as much, and I would. I don't know, everything would be fantastic, and like my cats wouldn't be knocking stuff over and going crazy because I'm never home. So
For sure. So that, you know what? Looking at I'm just writing some notes here, and looking at your miracle, a lot of it doesn't look to be too far off from a realistic miracle, right? The cat's not knocking things down. They're cats. They're gonna knock things down. It sucks. It's part of being a homeowner. But if you were in a better space and were more and able to clean up and had the time to clean up when they did that, it probably wouldn't have as much of an effect on you, right? It's just coming home at 11 o'clock at night, being like, oh my god, they knocked over the plants, there's stuff everywhere, and now
all
I
the
have to
stuff on
clean
the
it.
counters on the floor.
Yeah, exactly. So that is, it's very, like that one is manageable, right?
Yeah.
And being able to pay the bills. Right now you are able to pay the bills, you said. You're working, because you're working so much that you are paying the bills, but it's the every month repaying it and knowing how much you're paying in bills and that. So that's a life, or it's life, right, is paying bills.
Yeah.
But once again, if the relief and feeling refreshed happen first thing in the morning, perhaps paying the bills wouldn't be so much of a pain in the butt, right? Or if you, and cleaning the house. You said earlier that you enjoy cleaning the house when you are stressed. It's a clean house, clean mind kind of thing. Like, it's a lot easier to work in a clean environment. So, are there any days of the week that you feel, or that you could make yourself like some kind of a cleaning schedule, like just one thing in the morning before you go to school, like after you shower, you're gonna do the dishes, and then the dishes are done when you come home, or you're just gonna tidy up your room before you leave, so that when you come home, you've got a clean space to do your homework. Like, is there any chance, a scale of 1 to 10, chances of that happening? 0 being absolutely none, Vanessa, you're crazy, and 10 being like, yeah, I think I could probably do a quick cleanup before I leave in the morning. Like,
I'm probably a 6 or a 7. I could like wipe down the counters and like tidy up my bedroom or something.
Yeah.
And like, because it's not like I try really hard not to fall behind, but it's like it happens.
Oh yeah.
It happens.
Oh yeah.
So I could definitely do that. Like in the morning, I could just like wipe down the counters and then like do a few dishes, and like kind of on the same scale. Like on like weekends, I don't generally work until like 3 o'clock or so.
Yeah.
And if I don't have a whole bunch of homework, then I could probably do something like vacuum or something before work.
Yeah, for sure. And getting your assignments started, is there anything that could help you motivate yourself to do that? Like, is there any things that you've done in the past that worked to get your assignments started and get yourself kind of motivated on them?
Not really. I work really well under pressure, so like it's kind of like, but so I generally like I don't like leave it to the last minute, but I can't. I have a really hard time doing the assignments like a week before they're due. It just doesn't work for me because then my brain's not like, oh, you have to actually get into like assignment mode. So I don't like, and I think that like that's worked for me in the past, but I think that because I'm under so much pressure from like every angle,
it's too much.
And then when it finally comes time to actually like do the assignment, I'm like, nope, I'm out.
Too much pressure.
Yeah.
Tap out. For sure.
Yeah.
So I can totally understand that. Like, coming home from work at 11 o'clock and not wanting to even open a textbook or look at an assignment. Do you think that maybe just opening a Word document, starting a title page, like just starting it and having it there, so when you open your computer, like, oh yeah, I need to work on that a little bit. And you go into it, see what you're doing, maybe do a little bit of work on it, and then when the time comes to be like, oh my god, I need to get this project done, you're like, oh, but I already started and have like an intro, and then you already, like, it kind of gets your brain onto what you're doing, right? So it's easier to get into it because you've already kind of started it.
I think that's a really good idea. And I could definitely, that's something that would be really doable because it's just a small thing that I could do.
Yeah.
And I was also kind of thinking about like because sometimes I'll have like 2 hours to kill between work and school.
Sure.
So maybe like just going somewhere, like sitting in a Tim Hortons or something and trying to do it there. Because I think part of the problem too is like being at home and like, oh no, I have to clean and like I have to do my homework and my cats are being really annoying and maybe that would help me too, is to like be out of that kind of environment and just in like a space where I don't have to worry about anything except for what I'm working on. So
somewhere with less distraction and less reminders of the other things you've got going on, right?
Yeah, yep.
Awesome. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel about going home and starting maybe some of these steps that we've talked about and trying to make your life more manageable?
I think that I would be at like a 7 in terms of being able to do it. Like I could definitely do these steps. They seem really doable, and they're like small enough that they don't like. They're not super overwhelming. I'm not like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And I think that like because they're small enough, and I could like do them, and then maybe it would help just get me until December when all I have to worry about is work a little bit.
for sure. So, which of these steps do you find to be? Which one of these steps do you think you're going to take first?
Probably just starting a little bit of the assignment, like just doing the title page and then maybe a little bit of the first paragraph or something, or even at the same time I could do like bullet points kind of thing, like just jot down ideas.
Brainstorm.
Yeah, brainstorm, and that way I would kind of have something to go off of, because this one assignment that I just had, I was like, all I had was a blank page and I have no idea what to write. Oh my goodness, it was really overwhelming. And I think that having that stuff written down would probably be beneficial.
Yeah, just something to get your brain going on that subject, right? Yeah, because as soon as you get out of Walmart, you're not in the in family systems mode. Like it's not there right away, right?
Not,
so if you have a document that's like, triangulation, like you were like, Bowen, woo,
Woohoo.
awesome. So, let's get started on some of those steps, and I will talk to you next week.
Awesome, thank you.